I'll tell you what, it is getting spooky out there just in time for Halloween. We need to check out the charts to see what exactly they're showing us. We got SPY, QQQ, and IWM with their rising wedge patterns. Where exactly are we positioned right now, and what are we seeing according to the technicals? Also, NVDA is a very important one to pay attention to, especially where the NASDAQ 100 is involved, because their technicals are at a critical value as well, especially given what we've heard from AMD and now Microsoft and Meta also weighing in with their earnings, talking about increased spending as well. So we got to show that and then give an update on Tesla and Bitcoin, as each of them are at critical stages in their development. So let me pop these up here for you. So here's SPY, rising wedge pattern. We've broken outside of it. And then I said in previous videos how important it was to pay attention to one specific spot, and that would be this line right here, this blue line coming across. Here's the 20-period moving average, and I said so far we've have it as support. We got to watch for losing that support. In the pre-market hours, we're down below it. So if I take away some of these technicals, so we'll take away the lines, we'll also take away the moving averages, the exponential ones, the simple ones, and then what we have left is just the 20-period according to the Bollinger Bands that we see right now. We see it back here for support, 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 support. And then in the pre-market hours, we're currently down below that value as we get close to that election time. Plus, not to mention, tomorrow is non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. And we could see some of that nervousness coming to the markets today. It is important to point out that even though we are kind of seeing that fall off right now, we are still in bullish position as we're above the 50 and the 200 days. And if we go out to the weekly chart and take a look at that, the RSI, the momentum for daily, weekly, monthly, all bullish. We do have a little bit of a bearish divergence taking place. If I reset this view so we can see the prices moving up while the momentum is moving down, that could signal that there's a drop coming on the way, and we need to keep on watching that. We need to watch and see where that corrective time is if we get one, and we even see that not only in the weekly chart, but even if we go out to the monthly chart, we can still see across these peaks as per the RSI and the prices moving upward right now that we could be due for some corrective action to take place at some point in time. This pink line that you see on here is the 50 period, the 50 month in this case, and we're well above that, and down here's the 200. So still in bullish territory, still well up above the 20 month. If we do happen to come down to that level, by the way, look at the sort of rises that we get off of the 20 month. Like any time that we've broken down below, especially if we hit the 50, those are ones that really push us up, skyrocket us forward from there. So even though there might be, based on what we're seeing with the technicals right now, maybe we get that softness, maybe we don't. We need to watch and see. Right now, it's just the pre-market hours. Anything can happen. Plus, if we get positive news from what we see for non-farm payrolls coming out to be strongly positive for the labor market, unemployment rate, if that happens to stay down for us, stay low for us, that's something that can also be positive for the markets, could keep some punch going at the party. We still need to be aware of what can happen if we see that softness come in and if things start to break down. So bearish divergence on the monthly, bearish divergence on the weekly. Not quite seeing it on the daily yet, but that's most definitely worth paying attention to. So if we bring up these values on the daily chart here, what else do we see more recently and more readily? 575 is that line I told you to watch out for. We are just above that in the pre-market hours. If we break down below that, near this 50 period that we have on here, this pink line is the 566 support and 562 support. We can be watchful for that to see what exactly we get. And then we have a big old fat area support down here around the 550s. And then with the SPY being up near that 600 mark, at least at its peak, we're at 586. That could feel a bit painful, but that's where those real big opportunities are created. And that's why I've been conservative these past few months and keeping cash on the side and very careful at where I point my money towards. So moving over to the Qs, in the rising wedge pattern up to yesterday's close, today we're down here in the pre-market. That would put us down below that rising wedge pattern that we break out of the bottom. That would be confirmed by retesting this bottom as resistance. So drop out, come back up, retest, and watch for a further rejection. That could show us that potentially we have softness coming in. Today could be that day of worry. Tomorrow could be that day where we really find out what's going on. Now, remember, next week we have election. We also have the Fed meeting, which I haven't talked about too much, but that is also something that as the election passes, that's the next place that the eyes point, and how that gets interpreted is all going to talk about, well, actually, we have PCE today, so the last inflation measure that we get prior to the Fed meeting, and while we want that to come in soft, we don't want it to come in so soft that it starts to point deflationary, along with what we see with tomorrow, deflationary, pointing today with like a rapid decline in that inflation. Also, with what we could see tomorrow, if we get softness in those jobs numbers, then that could be something that'd be a little bit alarming and really might cause a little bit of further stirring at the Fed. We got to watch out for that. GDP numbers still came in pretty darn solid, with consumer spending also coming in solid. So right now, I think we're seeing a little bit of FUD affecting the markets, and also some of that worrisome nature of how we're going to end this week, especially with tomorrow. So today could be that market preparing, sort of readjusting or recentering itself, getting ready for whichever eventuality could take place given today's PCE report. Also, we have initial jobless claims. Friday, we have coming on top of that is where we have the unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls, the next week election and Fed meeting. We are just so loaded up on events and catalysts. It's going to be tough for the market to really move in either direction until they pass, and then we're going to have to interpret them as they come along. IWM near the bottom of the rising wedge pattern, hasn't broke outside of it so far. The EMAs right now still in bullishly positioned. If we put the SMAs on here, man, we're right down near this pink 50, and then moving down below that. I'm sorry, that's the 20. The 50s down here, which would be just below. So we're still in bullish territory. RSI still up, tapering down though, trailing off towards that 50 line. Possibly crossing bearish. We're going to have to watch and see how to interpret the next few days. This thing is ready to just either spring up or break down, and that's exactly where I would expect it to be with all the catalysts coming up that we have and just how important they are to the current market interpretation for things. NVIDIA, look at what I got for NVIDIA right now. There's the 5-period EMA and the 13-period EMA, and right now trading down below those. The RSI is still up above 50, so it's not signaling that we're going to possibly sell further. Being down below those moving averages could be an early sign of some price softness coming in leading up to the NVIDIA earnings on November the 20th, which, by the way, I'll be putting out my NVIDIA stock price prediction and earnings projection. Be on the lookout for that, as well as an update on Tesla's Q4 stock price prediction and earnings projection, and talking about where those prices could end up given the current market conditions and also given Tesla's positioning in that, NVIDIA's positioning in that. So be on the lookout. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to see when they come out. So for NVIDIA, really got to break solidly up over this 141 to 142 area. We peekabooed up over it. Couldn't hold it for right now. We have 133 down below to look forward to, and 131 should we continue to fall from where we're at right now in the pre-market hours. If we rise instead, we got resistance to the upside. We'll probably bounce around a little bit. I don't know. We're going to have to watch and see. It's really up to what the market does with the reports as they come out these next 2 days to next week even, just to see exactly where we can go in the longer term with things for the overall markets, and then how NVIDIA is going to be affected up until we get its earnings on November the 20th. And then for Tesla, currently got rejected up here around 271, and then it traded down below this 259. It is important to get back up on top of that 259.22 to see further bullishness come out of that. If instead we get price softness, we can look forward to that 247 coming out instead for us. So be on the lookout for that push down for Tesla. If we get rejected off the 259 today, watch for 247. Up above that 259, we can watch for 265 to come out instead. So that line, 259.22 is the price to write down. That's going to be an important thing for us to watch for which way we either bounce up for this or if we drop down for this for Tesla. And then finally, Bitcoin. The lines that we have here is 69.711 is the one that we want to stay above. If we do, that's further bullishness that can keep pushing us on towards that 84.5. If we stay up above the 71.9, that's also going to be great for us as well. It's actually 71.853 if you want to look at that on here. If that fails, watch for the 69.711. If that fails, watch for the 66.326. If we're able to hold those, the next line to really look forward to, along with all-time highs on Bitcoin, would be the 76.582. We got within... Man, we were within just a couple $100. I think like less than $200 of all-time highs per BTC before getting rejected. This is a very natural thing to see. It doesn't mean that we're done yet. It doesn't mean that we're going to fall back down, but it does set up for a potential double top if we're unable to put in those new highs, which can lead to a significant tumble back down through these supports that you can see on here. And I have all these prices. You're welcome to screenshot. Guys, if you want to see my buys and sells, see these technicals before they hit YouTube, you can see them through the Discord available at the Patreon. Click that link down in the description and sign up. Come on over and join us. And then if you guys also want to learn to do this technical analysis yourself, you can do so through Stockmo Academy. Is a personal friend of mine, and I stand by the course that he and his wife, Mrs. Mo, have put out. It is rock solid, small, easy to digest pieces, easy to set up bread recipe trading strategy. That is the best trading strategy that I've ever seen that with the returns, even though we can never promise any sort of gains that come out of it. I can tell you I use it myself as a winning strategy. So does he. It's tried and true again and again and again. It just keeps on working. So you guys can check that out at a discounted rate by using the discount code Dr. DOCTOR that is also provided down in the description. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget about that subscribe button to see the NVIDIA and Tesla stock price prediction and earnings projections as they come out to you here on YouTube. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.